Welcome to Magical Books for Kids, a podcast sponsored by Magic Everywhere, Inc., a company based in Florida. Hosted by Michael John Sullivan, this is your place to hear the very best children's stories and an opportunity to get to know your favorite authors. Now, here is Michael John Sullivan.
Welcome to Magical Books for Kids. I'm Michael John Sullivan. Again, thank you for joining us for another edition of our free podcast. It can be heard on all platforms. We're honored to have Susan Zucconi. She is a well-known children's book author, an entrepreneur, and host of our very own children's television show, who has given back to various organizations and foundations. Susan has graced the cover of newspapers, magazines, been a contributor on various radio and television shows. She's also done movies, commercials, business podcasts, stand-up comedy, and more. Susan's love for children and her latest adventure is hosting her very own children's television show titled Seuss Creative Playtime Show, which airs every Friday at 5:30 p.m., Saturday 8 a.m. and 9:30 a.m., and Sunday at 8 a.m. on Verizon Channel 45 and Optimum Channel 76. Susan started her videos for children on social media at the beginning of the pandemic so they could have fun and feel special. So Susan, welcome to Magic Books for Kids. It's an honor to have you here.
Thank you, Michael. It's my pleasure. Thank you for inviting me. And you pretty much said it all.
Right, you've done so much. I mean, I'm pretty amazed that you've done all these particular things. But recently, you were also on a cover of a newspaper. So why don't you talk about that?
Oh, yes. It was an honor, and I'm so proud. They did two other publications on me. The first was about my children's books, which was published in 2014. And then they did another one when I started my own business, Grandma Tilly's Coleslaw. And that with the pandemic, unfortunately, I started with a bang and I couldn't continue the following year. There was too much preparation and getting everything I needed for the business was just too, it was too late and I couldn't get it going. You have so much insurances and materials, labels, a whole bunch of things that needed to be done before April, and the pandemic's just, swept that away. But, it was an honor to do that for my grandmother, who, when I was 8 years old, I helped her make it. She would tell me, do this, do that. And that's what Grandma Tilly's Coleslaw was, heart healthy without mayonnaise. And then this third one was about basically they wanted all my accomplishments. And it was just an honor to do this. And what a nice write-up they did. The story was amazing. Tracy Harmon took the photo shoot. She's an absolutely what would you call her? Professional in her field. She does a lot of, photos. And basically about my children's books. I love reading to the kids. It lets them visualize themselves in the adventures of my books. The children always were captivated with the words and pictures, and they loved the question and answer time each time I was invited to either Barnes and Noble, elementary schools, other children's events, even the mayor. I don't know if you know, in my hometown, invited me to the town's 166th birthday event and had me reading my children's book, Crumby's Carnival and Magic Show. And I was so excited to be invited by the mayor of my hometown.
That's wonderful. Are there any particular books that, well, you mentioned that when you go to Barnes and Noble bookstores or elementary schools, you've been to children's hospices as well as other children's events. Any particular book that you read, or do you read from a few of them?
All three of them.
Mhm.
You know, like the hospices I would go to, they wanted to hear my children's books. And one hospice that I go to in Hackensack, the Joseph Sanzari Children's Hospital, I was so overjoyed, and there's no words when the nurse and you know, the whole team, they said to me that I changed the lives of two children. And one, I met him, Mohammed. He would not go to the library at all. And when Sarah said he heard that I was coming to read my children's book, he came to the library, and his mother was there. I met the mother. I have pictures. If anybody can go to my website, SusanZucconi.com, they could see my testimonials. They could see the pictures and the events I went to. And he was one that I changed the life. I couldn't believe when she said that. I was so overjoyed and, you know, humbled. And the other one, the same day, the boy, Jeremiah, he was in his room, and he wanted me to read the story just for him privately and take a selfie. And of course, you know, the nurse came too and took the selfie. And we used to correspond. I would talk, send her letters about my little pup, and he loved about my little puppy, my Pomeranian that I had. It's just very, you know, the experience of meeting all these children. It's just a wonderful experience for me. I just keep wanting to do more and more for children, because I believe children should have fun, feel special. And that's when I started to do the IGTV videos for them. And then when I was on the Alexis show, she saw my love for children, and she invited, you know, her community media. She invited me to do my own television show, and that's where Sue's Creative Playtime show started.
So you've been doing so much for children. When you were a child, were there any particular books that inspired you, or any particular author that inspired you?
Dr. Seuss.
Yeah.
I love Dr.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, I used to love Dr. Seuss, and then I used to read like magical, like the gods and goddesses, and you know, stuff like that. I used to like the and then when I got older, I used to like the Hardy Boy mysteries, you know, things like that. But Dr. Seuss, he was number one for me. And then when I had my two boys, which are now 45 and let me get this right, 33.
Wow.
33, 45. Yeah, both my boys are December boys, December 5th and December 22nd.
Mm-hmm.
So I used to read 10 books a day with them. You know, I used to, yeah.
That's great. That's great. So they must have become prolific readers, just like yourself.
Yeah, my youngest likes to music. That was another thing. I used to have music all the time for the kids, because I believe that music makes you happy, makes you feel good. And my son now plays the drums. The youngest one likes to play drums. He was in a band. My oldest went to the Navy. He retired from the Navy, and he drives a tractor trailer.
Wow. Okay. So it sounds like everybody's got a talent in your family.
Yes.
So the books that you mentioned, why don't you just talk about some of the books and what they're
Sure.
about?
My books have good family values, and I always wanted for the kids to make, get themselves in the character. So my first book was titled Crumby's Carnival and Magic Show. And oh, by the way, all my books are about my childhood experiences. So the first one, Crumby's Carnival and Magic Show, was about Crumby having a carnival and magic show. And when I was younger, I had a carnival and magic show in my parents' backyard at 8 years old. And we had refreshments, lemonade and iced tea my mother made. And I used to bring, and I had a couple of friends there that we would all bring our old stuffed animals and games for prizes. The second one is called The Crumb Grabbers Meet the Honey Lou Kids. And that was based on a pen pal I had. I know it's like ancient pen pals, but pen pal in Hawaii. And that was The Crumb Grabbers Meet the Honey Lou Kids, which I made Honey Lou Honolulu. And
that's clever, yeah.
It's based on, vacation with the family and the culture, learning the culture and the dance of the Honey Lou Kids. And the third one is Crumb Bun Says No to Bullying. And that was a lot of my friends, all from childhood all the way up to even adults. They were always being bullied, and I always helped my friends, and I would stand up to the bullies. I didn't like anybody, even when I see any child getting reprimanded or anybody ready to fight the children, I'll step in. I don't like to see anybody being bullied.
Right, and it seems it's going on a lot more, Susan, today because of social media. So the book about bullying is very important today.
Yes.
So that's two of the books. What was the third book now?
Oh, that was the three. One was Crumby's Carnival Magic Show. That was my first one.
Right.
And the second one is The Crumb Grabbers Meet the Honey Lou Kids.
Okay. Mm-hmm.
And then the third one is Crumb Bun Says No to Bullying. And writing all three, it opened so many doors for me for being invited on television and radio, the magazines, newspapers, Barnes and Noble appearances, going to hospices, children's events. It's amazing that it opens so many doors.
Sure, and like when you go to these particular places, what can parents and children expect? What do? You read from your books? Do you sing? Do you play an instrument, or you do a combination of everything?
Well, on the children's books, when I go to Barnes and Noble or any of the events, I'll read, then I'll answer questions. And it's so funny, the children will ask all sorts of questions like, what's your favorite color? They ask me what my favorite football team is. They ask me, and it's so cute.
Do you have a favorite football team? Or?
Yes. You want me to tell you?
Sure, of course. We want to know.
Giants.
The Giants, of course. See, that's a good pick. The Giants. I've been a Giant fan since the days of Joe Morrison, so it's been a while.
Oh, wow.
So, yes. So I'm glad you're on the right team.
Another thing that I do, I have a word search puzzle game, and I do that with them. I'll hand out the game to all the kids, and then I have prizes, and I buy gifts for them, like games, and it's a fun time. Everybody is happy. I just have so much fun.
Right, it also says that you not only sing, you stretch, you do cardio, you read, and you do arts and crafts and a puppet show. So why don't you?
Oh yes, my TV show. Yes, I made a little my own song, and it's called "I'm Special," and it's because I want the kids to look in the mirror and say that they're special and they're beautiful. I want them to feel like no matter what predicament, sorrow that they have, they could always look in the mirror and feel special. So that's how I start the show. We sing the theme song. Then we go into stretching because I was a personal trainer for 4.5 years.
Okay.
And that too, I know stretching, if people would just stretch, they could prevent so many injuries. So we stretch. And then a little cardio just to get their blood flowing and their heart pumping. Nothing crazy that people, the kids are going to fall down at exhaustion. Just a little, just three times we do cardio, 3 times we do stretching. But stretching, you should do like 10 to 15 minutes every day. But then after the singing, the stretching, the cardio, then we do reading. I'll read any type of book, and I'm going to try to get other authors to give me children's books up to like age 5th grade.
Mm-hmm.
I'd like to have more authors, and there's so many authors out there.
Yeah.
If they would.
Yeah, you won't have trouble. You won't have trouble finding authors wanting to give you the book to read.
I know. That's what I fear. Instead of going to the library and to the bookstores, they could say, "Oh, well, if you read my book, yes, it's a picture book. It's only a couple of pages. That would be perfect." So then after the reading, we do arts and crafts. I do a new craft all the time. And then our puppet show. And we have Peppino, the Italian pup, is a favorite. We have other puppets, and but Peppino comes on a lot. He comes on a lot, and it's fun. It's just spontaneous. We don't rehearse.
So
and everybody seems to like it.
So you have people working with you on the puppet show?
My husband.
Oh, so you got a talented.
He's the puppeteer.
You see, good for him. So that's great. So that's probably why you are together, and you're happy by doing this together, I would assume, right?
Yes. I didn't know that he was going to be so, involved that he would like to be a puppet, to do this with me. But yeah, he supports me 100%.
That's great. That's great. Yeah, so I assume that the puppet show is a pretty big hit with the kids. Is that one of the top ones? Yeah.
Yes.
Now, it sounds like that you've been used to, at a very early age, you're used to speaking in public and everything. It's very difficult for some authors. And what advice would you give to authors out there who are a little bit shy or a little bit uncomfortable in speaking to an audience? Because it seems like you've done everything. You've been in front of the camera, in front of the mic, in front of an audience, small or big. So what advice would you give to authors out there who are struggling with that?
Thank you, Michael. That was a very nice compliment. Would you believe when I was in high school, I wanted to try out for a play, and I was so nervous I couldn't do it. I went all the way to the school, to the auditorium, had my hand on the doorknob, and I just couldn't do it. I went home and I was, I just was so scared. But when you get older, you get more, I don't know, you're more, I don't know what would be the word.
More comfortable, right? You're used to doing it.
And confident.
Sure.
You're more and confident.
Mm-hmm.
And I was like, hey, what am I going to lose? And another thing, I was stand-up comedy. That was before my writing children's books. Would you believe that? And I went on stage in New York, Stand Up New York. I was there. They wanted me to keep coming every week. I says, well, I have a job and kids. I can't keep coming. But the first time you're nervous, after that, after looking at people, it's a piece of cake. So people could I never did it in front of the mirror. I just went out and did it, So other authors, other speakers, either just do it and, see what happens, or you could rehearse in front of a mirror, have your family, if you want them to help you, or record, maybe if people want to do their own recordings and see how they sound. I just would say go for it. What do you got to lose in life?
True. And as you said, that once you get through the first one, the next one's easier, and then the next one's easier, and so on and so forth. The audiences, obviously, they're different in age-wise. Is it easier to speak to children as opposed to adults?
No, not for me. Not for me, because the one at St. Joseph Academy, after reading to the little kids, they wanted me to go to the older kids and discuss how it is, to be an author. Any questions that they threw at me, I had to ask. And I was a little nervous, having the podium, and I'm standing through all these bleachers of older kids. But no, I was proud of myself. I did really well, and the kids, asked me all these questions. I answered it, and it was a fun day.
Right. Yeah, children have no filter, so their hearts are open. Their hearts are open to anything.
I love kids.
Yeah, and now when you wrote your books, what did your children think? Now of course they're adults, but what do they think about your children's books?
Oh, they liked them. Yeah. They liked them. They thought it was pretty, that's cool, Mom. They were proud. They still are behind me 100%.
Right. It's I tell you also too, in your bio, and I didn't read it in the beginning, but to me this is really interesting. You received 2 royal letters from the Duchess of Cambridge expressing expressing that thanking you for visiting the children's hospices. Now, how did that happen?
Oh, the Duchess of Cambridge. Yes, when she had her first 2 children, and that was at the beginning of when I started being a published children's book author, I was like, I'm going to send them my books. And she found out that I visited children's hospices. So I got the first letter, expressing her joy. And then later on, when she had her 3rd child, I sent her the 3rd book. Because the first one, I sent her both books, and then the 3rd one, I sent the Crumbling Cinnamon book. And again, she sent me a beautiful letter. I have both of them, expressing the joy that I visit the children's hospices, and good luck with my writing and stuff like that. It was nice.
Now, which do you enjoy more, writing a children's book or performing? Because it's obviously you have talent, you're multi-talented. You can not only write, you can sing, you can dance, you do the exercising, you do the crafts, you do the puppets. Is there a particular part of any of this that you enjoy more?
Well, I like to entertain the children. I love entertaining the children. I have a couple other books that I didn't even publish yet.
So we can expect that in the future. Any particular subject matter that you want to deal with?
No, it would be different than the Crumb Grabber series. But what I really would like to keep going with the the Seuss Creative Playtime Show. I want to try to expand that and see if I could reach more. That's what would be my dream, is to reach every single child all over the world. A day of enjoyment with everything, with the singing, the stretching, cardio, arts and crafts, reading, and the puppet show.
Right.
That's my dream. And sooner or later, whether it's going to be on a radio show or television show, somebody will reach out and say, you know, I see how much you love kids. Let me either produce it to make it go more worldwide so every child can, you know, have that enjoyment for the half hour.
Sure, you never know. I mean, each week you're producing something, so you reach a bigger and bigger audience as you go along. And so we'll talk a little bit about your YouTube channel, because that's something that people can just go to and enjoy.
Yes, I'm hoping people will keep subscribing, you know, for the little ones. And I share weekly videos about staying positive, exercise, arts and crafts, the puppet show, and more. You know, whether it's the nice, beautiful scenery, you know, the kids going outside. I try to do something each week. And at my YouTube channel is Susan Zucconi, SUSANROCHESTER, Zucconi, CUCCONI. And please subscribe, everybody.
And it does help. People don't realize that every review for an author and every person that subscribes and gives likes to your YouTube channel, as well as the material you're putting up, helps us for sure.
Yes. So it's fun and entertaining for all.
Well, Susan, it's been a pleasure to have you here on Magical Books for Kids. We hope that we can have you back again, probably right before Christmas time, I think. Be a nice time to have. That would be nice, because I'm not going to assume anything, but I would think that you have holiday shows and things like that, and you do stuff like that.
Yes.
You know, and maybe the puppets go to Santa's land or something like that. See, I'm very interested in seeing the puppets and seeing your.
Yes, I give raffles. I give raffles quite a bit during the year for prizes.
So there's a lot of fun for parents and kids to watch together.
Yes, thank you.
All right,
and
so
thank you so much for having me on, Michael.
It's been a lot of fun, and I'm looking forward to doing this again, because perhaps maybe next time we can have you sing and do a song for us, which would be nice. So we look forward to that the next time. So thank you again, Susan, for joining us.
Thank you, Michael. You enjoy your day.
Thanks. And I'm Michael John Sullivan, and thank you for joining us again for Magical Books for Kids. It's a podcast sponsored by Magic Everywhere INC, and this podcast and all our podcasts are free on all the platforms. We'll see you again next week.
Thank you for listening to Magical Books for Kids, a podcast sponsored by Magic Everywhere INC, a company based in Florida, hosted by Michael John Sullivan. This is your place to hear the very best children's stories and an opportunity to get to know your favorite authors. Join us for another fun storytelling podcast next week.